While reading through articles on the Lost Media Wiki, I sometimes finish learning about a new topic and immediately think, yeah, that's probably never going to get found. Today, I've decided to put together these obscure topics into one list. Now, I present to you lost media that may never be found. Cool World is a comedy fantasy film that is a mix of live action and animation. It follows a cartoonist named Jack Deebs and a World War II veteran named Frank Harris. We start off in 1945, with Frank returning to his mother. He invites her to take a ride with him on his motorcycle. She agrees to take the joyride, but this takes a turn for the worse. The two get into a terrible accident, and Frank's mom doesn't make it. Immediately following the wreck, he is transferred to a cartoon universe called Cool World. Here, Frank takes on a new life and becomes a detective. Then we fast forward to 1992. Cartoonist Jack Deebs has just completed a prison sentence. For what, you may ask? Well, he walked into his bedroom one day and found a man in bed with his wife. Let's just say, one of those people aren't around anymore. While incarcerated, he made a comic book series titled Cool World. These comics are based on visions he had. They feature a female character named Holly Wood. Her wish is to one day escape Cool World, so she can be a real person. The only way to do this is to sleep with a Noid, which is a human. Detective Frank and his partner Nels keep a close eye on Holly to make sure Cool World doesn't mix with the real world. Once Jack gets out of prison, he is transported to Cool World. Frank confronts Jack, saying that Cool World was around long before he made his comic book series, also warning him not to have relations with Holly, because transforming her into a Noid can be very dangerous for both dimensions. Despite this, Jack gives in to Holly and the two make love. This turns Holly into a Noid. Next, Jack and Holly go to the real world and trap Frank's assistant Nels inside of a pen. Once they arrive, Holly is overwhelmed by the experience. She tells Jack about the spike of power and how she wants to use it to remain a Noid forever. Jack is unsure about this, so Holly continues the quest on her own. Frank finds out what happened and goes back to the real world. After he arrives, him and Jack must put their differences aside to work together. The two arrive at the hotel and see Holly climbing the tower to reach the power spike. Frank and Jack begin going after her, and Holly pushes Frank off the building. He doesn't survive. Holly reaches the spike and releases some dark doodles into the world. The spike turns Jack into a superhero. Jack then considers a new life here with Holly, but in the end, he decides to return the spike of power to its rightful place. Upon returning, Nels brings Frank's body back. And since Holly was partially a doodle when she pushed Frank off the building, this takes Jack, Holly, and all of the evil doodles back to Cool World. Frank is now able to be brought back as a doodle. Cool World didn't do too well at the box office, partly due to some controversy with advertising for the film. However, reviews for the movie aren't too good either. People seem to really enjoy the visuals and music, but have major problems with the story. After the film's release, Ralph Bakshi has spoke on the project in interviews. He denounced the film, saying, "I thought if I did the animation well, it would be worth it. But you know what? It wasn't worth it." However, in 2022, Bakshi seems to have a different take on Cool World. He says, quote, "I used to disparage it, but not anymore," adding that Cool World has some of the best animation I've ever done. Well, prior to the movie, Ralph Bakshi had made some very successful animated films, such as Fritz the Cat. In 1990, Bakshi decided it was time for another one. He began writing a screenplay about a young woman named Debbie Dallas. Her parents are a human and a doodle. Since she is half animated and half human, Debbie thinks of herself as a freak. Debbie was then set out on a mission to kill her father because he abandoned her. Bakshi pitched the screenplay to Paramount and they loved the idea. Production began immediately. During production, producer Frank Mancuso Jr. had the entire screenplay secretly rewritten. The new version was almost completely different, majorly drawing away from the original idea that was pitched. This producer was known for his work on the Friday the 13th film series. Mancuso wanted to work on something different than horror movies. Upon learning of Frank Mancuso going behind his back to remake the project, Bakshi was furious. And the next time the two saw each other face to face, it came to blows. Bakshi and the producer had a physical fight, and this caused major issues in the film's production. Bakshi appeared to be done with Cool World until Paramount threatened to sue. Many people point to this backstabbing move and the altercation that followed when discussing the failure of the movie. As of today, it's unknown if the original screenplay was preserved. Fortunately, we can see some storyboard panels that are based on the original screenplay. These were drawn by Lois Zingarelli. She used the original character designs in these storyboards. These also show Debbie Dallas instead of Holly Wood. Comic props that were created for the final film show an early design of Holly Wood. These were most likely done before the new script was written. This original screenplay could be in the archives of Ralph Bakshi or Paramount. For now, it remains a mystery. Active Enterprises is a company that is known for two of the worst games ever, Action 52 and Cheetah Man 2. Action 52 is a Nintendo game that contains 52 horrible games. One of these games is Cheetah Man. The game is so bad that they literally forgot to finish it, a subpar game that actually had some cool characters. The company thought they could continue Cheetah Man because of the cool concept and characters, so they began to develop a sequel. Cheetah Man 2 was cancelled before it could be officially released. Nevertheless, the game was said to have been completed. In 1996, a box of Cheetah Man cartridges were found inside of a warehouse. 1,500 copies of the game were found and sold online or in person. The cartridges were reused Action 52 carts with a golden sticker on the back that read Cheetah Man 2. Cheetah Man 2 is so bad that you can't even complete the game. Once you reach level 4, the boss disappears on his own, or after you defeat him. Then you can't go any further. It's over. Apparently, if you jump off the ledge, there is an ultra rare chance that it will send you to level 5. But I would say you have a better chance of firing up a copy of Pokemon Leaf Green and catching a shiny Poliwag. Years later in the YouTube series The Game Chasers, we see that the creator of the game has now fixed the internal bug. So now, you can fully play through Cheetah Man 2. That is, if you're lucky enough to get your hands on a copy. After Action 52 was released on the Sega Genesis, Active Enterprises were planning on making a handheld gaming console called the Action Game Master. Apparently, this name came from a Cheetah character. Set to have its own exclusive game library, it was also projected to be compatible with the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and the Nintendo Entertainment System. This would require a separate adapter. The console would have a 3.2-inch color LCD screen, CD player, and a built-in battery charger, along with a cigarette lighter adapter for your car. Weird, huh? The first presentation of the Action Game Master was at the Consumer Electronics Show in 1994. Along with this new handheld system, other projects were supposed to be presented as well, like Action 52 on the Super Nintendo, a game called Sports 5, and Cheetah 3, of all things. None of these were shown at the Consumer Electronics Show. The only new thing shown there was this concept art for the Action Game Master. No prototype for this system has ever surfaced, and may not have ever been made. The list of exclusive games has never been released. Honestly, this company never really had it together. Big concepts with disappointing results. So I'm pretty sure if this was released, it would just be another forgettable handheld, like the Atari Lynx. Leader Dog is a short animated series that first premiered on Nicktoons in 2004. It follows an ordinary dog who gets abducted by aliens. They take him to planet Zmed, where they see him as the leader, the one that everyone follows. How did this happen? Well, two explorers named Dave and Blark were sent by the king to search for Earth's leader. When they reach Earth, a dog is attempting to escape the dog pound. The explorers see dog catchers chasing after the dog. They took this as everyone following him, so they assume that the dog is Earth's leader. After being taken to planet Zmed, the dog is sworn in as the new leader. Now that he is the leader, he is showing aliens how dogs do things. They are impressed with the things he does, like playing dead and drinking from the toilet. This is a cool show that has some fun characters, like King Adrian and his son, plus the twin explorers, Dave and Blark. I was always drawn to Leader Dog's design as well. Simple but enjoyable. Leader Dog was created by Larry Schwartz, the man who made Kappa Mikey and Thumb Wrestling Federation. It was produced by his studio, Animation Collective. Schwartz said that for Leader Dog, he wanted to base the animation on Hanna-Barbera characters. He spoke on the show saying, quote, "We really wanted to create something totally original, yet familiar. The kind of shows we grew up with and watched on Saturday mornings. We wanted to tell funny stories with memorable characters, the kind that will become classics." End quote. Even though Leader Dog didn't get very popular, I think Larry accomplished most of what he was set out to do with the show. Each episode was about 3 minutes long. A total of 13 shorts were made for the show. The show ran on Nicktoons Network for a few years. Since it was taken off the air in the late 2000s, Leader Dog hasn't appeared on any other network. Out of the 13 episodes, 2 of them are lost. The episodes are titled Halloween and TV or Not TV. Luckily, we can still view 11 episodes, but I hope the lost episodes show up one day online. I remember watching the Halloween special when I was younger, and it was a good one. Maybe Larry Schwartz has the whole series. For now, it's a mystery. Silent Hill is a survival horror game that was released on the PlayStation 1 in 1999. Developed by Konami, you play as Harry Mason on a mission to find his adopted daughter. While going through a dark and mysterious town in New England, you're shooting down dark, hellish creatures along the way. This game was received very well by fans and critics alike. Multiple sequels have been made, and Silent Hill has gained a cult following. Since the project was so successful, Konami wanted to make a Silent Hill comic book. Written by John Murphy and drawn by Neil Goog, the comic was 70 pages long and set for release in November of '99. Fans of the game were excited after the comic was shown in a catalog. It was finished and ready to be released, but the month of November came and went, with no sign of the Silent Hill comic. Despite being complete, it was never released. Later on, the artist who drew the comic, Neil Goog, made a post on DeviantArt about working on the Silent Hill comic. He showed off some never-before-seen art and how he got the opportunity to draw 70 pages for Konami. Goog admits that he was too ambitious, and that it was his first time coloring his artwork, adding that he was trying some new things that didn't always work so well. Neil Goog ends the post telling us that his rookie mistakes made the comic a mess. In 2021, a user on the Lost Media Wiki contacted Neil asking about the comic book. He replied saying it was stored on a CD and that the CDs are nowhere to be found. Also shedding some light on why the comic never came out, stating that the reason was an internal conflict between Konami and its European branch. Goog also said that alongside its standalone release, the comic book was going to be part of a special edition release of Silent Hill 2. Today, what can be seen of this dark comic is 4 pages and the catalog it was advertised in back in the day. Most info and remains of the Silent Hill comic were found by the fan site called Silent Hill Memories. If anyone watching this video owns the disc containing the full comic, let us know or post it online. The Addams Family is a cartoon that was created in 1938 and published in The New Yorker. The family we all came to know and love became more popular with its own TV series in 1964. This live-action show aired on ABC, running for 2 seasons, producing 64 episodes. In this show, the producer wanted to do a more humorous style of the Addams Family. This was a great idea and paid off immaculately, as the series was a hit and resonated with viewers around the world. But this adaptation isn't what I'm discussing today. I want to talk about a failed attempt at making a new series based on the Addams Family. This show would be called The Addams Family Funhouse. A pilot was shot in the early 70s and first aired on TV in 1973. It was a sitcom that included several skits and musical sessions. This pilot aired on different channels for a year but couldn't find its audience. It was shopped around, but everyone passed on it, and it was ultimately unsold. A blogger that watched the pilot when it used to air said that he remembers dance party sequences and that they were sometimes interrupted for one-liners. Even though this pilot episode aired on a few different TV channels from 73 to 74, it is completely lost and hasn't been seen since these airings. All that exists of this failed show is a single photo of the cast. Batman Forever is a 1995 film that is a sequel to Batman Returns. In this movie, Val Kilmer replaces Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. With Robin by his side, Batman is on a mission to stop Two-Face and Riddler. This movie is action-packed and has an exceptional cast, with Jim Carrey playing Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Batman Forever received mixed reviews. Fans and critics enjoyed the action sequences, music, and camera work, but heavily criticized the use of CGI, the costume designs, and just the overall feel of the movie being off. Even though reviews were more on the negative side, the film was very successful at the box office, grossing over $336 million. This film could have been better if Tim Burton's original version was released. That's right, Joel Schumacher directed a darker version of Batman Forever. Warner Brothers expected a lot from this film as the last two didn't bring in enough money. Major corporate companies like McDonald's, who worked with Warner Brothers on the first two films, refused to promote Batman Forever when they saw how dark it was. Warner Brothers needed these companies in order for the movie to be promoted at the highest level. So they went back to the drawing board and asked Schumacher and Tim Burton to make a more light-tone, family-friendly film. For years, it was a mystery if the full, darker version of Batman Forever existed. However, on July 2nd of 2020, a few days after the death of director Joe Schumacher, writer Mark Bernardin sent out a tweet saying, quote, "I have it on very good authority that a 170-minute cut of Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever exists," adding that Warner Brothers is unsure if there's any hunger for what was described to him as a much darker and more serious movie. So should WB release the 2000 cut? It's unlikely that they ever will, but it would be interesting to see nonetheless. 3D Groove was a 3D game engine created by the Groove Alliance in 1998. This company developed original games, but the main goal was to partner with major businesses and corporations to make a game in order to advertise their IPs. Companies such as Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, Radio Shack, and even Pringles were partnered with the company. Some examples of the coolest games made from these partnerships are Rocket Power Big Air Mountain, Toonami Trapped in Hyperspace, Mountain Dew Snowboarding, and Hey Arnold Runaway Bus. Games like this brought more players to 3D Groove, and by 2002, the game engine had surpassed 40 million downloads. The company peaked in the early 2000s. Over the next few years, the company would do a few projects, like make a Transformers game for the NetJet controller, which was a cheap plug-and-play system made by Tiger Electronics. But other than that, it seemed like 3D Groove did less each year. In 2009, 3D Groove games shut down. After this, the Groove Alliance rebranded themselves as O-Toy. The company responded to a fan on Twitter, saying a few people from Groove still work for O-Toy. It's said that former CEO Jules Erbach was screwed over one way or another by the new CEO of the Groove Alliance. Since the site has closed down, none of the games are available for purchase anymore, and some of them are still available to play online. Luckily, players archived a lot of these games. There are currently 17 games that are lost and may never be recovered. If you want to play the available games online, someone put together a folder where you can easily download them. If you grew up in the late 90s and early 2000s, then chances are you've heard of Mary-Kate and Ashley before, or the Olsen twins. The twins got their first role before they were even a year old, as the baby Michelle Turner in Full House in 1987. When Full House ended in 1995, the Olsen twins starred in the film It Takes Two. Over the next few years, they would show up in TV episodes of All My Children and Sister Sister. In '98, Mary-Kate and Ashley would again be permanent characters in a sitcom called Two of a Kind. This show wasn't a hit like Full House, and only lasted one season. By the year 2000, Mary-Kate and Ashley were a household name. An animated series based on the twins was being developed by DIC Entertainment under the working title Action Drills. Mary-Kate and Ashley in Action premiered on Disney's One Saturday Morning on October 20th in 2001. In the show, the Drills characters are named Misty and Amber, movie stars that help out people in need. They are also secret agents who fight villains. They go on wild adventures around the globe with their friends Ivan Quintero and Rodney Choi. Also tagging along is their robot dog, Quincy. The show was originally planned for 52 episodes. However, audiences weren't really into this new show, and ratings were low. This caused the show to be cancelled after one season. 26 episodes were produced and aired. This was the last TV series to star the Olsen twins. Mary-Kate and Ashley in Action only had one official release, a DVD containing 5 episodes. These episodes were uploaded to YouTube in 2014 and released on Apple TV a couple years later. But strangely enough, the other 21 episodes never got an official release. It seems like whoever owns the show just doesn't care about it anymore. Good news for fans is that episodes of the show began to resurface in the following years. In April of 2021, 13 episodes were found and can be watched on YouTube. As of now, 19 out of 26 episodes have been recovered. Based on these findings, I'd say that the remaining 7 episodes are out there, but just haven't been tracked down yet or made available. Anytime I sat down to watch VH1 and seen that Behind the Music was on, I knew that I was in for a good watch. The most memorable episodes of Behind the Music to me are the ones about DMX, 50 Cent, and Dr. Dre. I do remember others though, like Christina Aguilera and Eve. If you're not familiar, Behind the Music is a music documentary series that goes through the journey of a band, singer, or rapper in documentary fashion. It first aired on VH1 in 1997. The pilot episode covered Milli Vanilli, recounting how the group went from quick stardom to being seen as frauds when they were caught and exposed for lip syncing. This was so bad that even the singer's Grammy Award for Best New Artist was revoked. The premiere was very successful, so the episodes continued. Behind the Music did great work documenting the careers of many musicians and groups. The series ran for 17 years, from August of '97 to July of 2014, and consists of 244 episodes. Even some new episodes were made for Paramount Plus in 2021. Although some of the more popular episodes aired many times over the years, many of the obscure ones were only shown a few times. Also, the show had very few home media releases. Because of this, quite a few episodes from Behind the Music are now lost. Some of the popular episodes that are completely lost and can't be watched today revolve around Frank Sinatra, Bad Company, Public Enemy, Matchbox 20, Boys to Men, Neo, and Gym Class Heroes. For some major artists, 2 episodes were made years apart, sort of like a continuation or update to the first one. So in some cases, one of these episodes are lost or partially lost. For example, the 2012 versions of T.I. and Pink's episodes are lost. However, we can watch the 2009 version in full. Some other examples are the 2001 versions of Aaliyah, Mary J. Blige, and Madonna. Episodes about T-Pain, The Game, and Pitbull were lost for some time, but luckily, they have been uploaded to Paramount Plus. It's bizarre to me that a show this successful and popular is lost media. I'd like to think that these episodes have been properly archived, and maybe they aren't available to watch due to the rights of artists. Episodes that used to air a lot, such as 50 Cent, the 2009 version, were most likely recorded by a fan at some point. But as far as the ones with very few airings, they may be lost forever. In 2004, a demo titled Balloon Trip was shown for the Nintendo DS at E3. It was named after Balloon Fight, the Nintendo game released in 1985. In this demo, Baby Mario is being carried by a stork until he is knocked away by the evil Kamek. Baby Mario is saved by 3 balloons that keep him in the air. This game was done in the Yoshi's Island style, and looks like a spin-off from the Super Nintendo game. While playing, you would use your DS stylus to draw clouds. These clouds would then send Baby Mario in the right direction. You would also draw circles around enemies and turn them into coins. You need to collect as many coins as possible to try and get the highest score. When you beat the level, Baby Mario is greeted by Yoshi. Fans were very impressed by this demo, and really wanted to play the game. The team that was developing Yoshi Touch and Go for the GameCube loved Balloon Trip, so much so that they partnered up with the developers and decided to implement the demo into Yoshi Touch and Go, releasing the game on the Nintendo DS in 2005. Instead of the GameCube as originally planned. Balloon Trip was never spoke of again. The original demo hasn't been shown since E3 of 2004, and it's doubtful that a playable version exists. Space Ghost Coast to Coast is a hilarious animated talk show hosted by Space Ghost. This is a new spin on the Hanna-Barbera character from the 60s. This show is for adults, so now Space Ghost is showing his funny side. His sarcasm is second to none, and he breaks the fourth wall on the regular. Co-hosts of the show are Moltar and Zorak. These 3 play off of each other very well, and keep us entertained throughout the entire episode. The trio interviews celebrity guests virtually through the TV. asking bizarre questions that often make guests break character. It's really interesting seeing how each celebrity reacts to Space Ghost and the others. I like how Zorak chimes in every now and then, saying something random. Space Ghost sometimes will blast Zorak if he gets annoying. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was a huge success and had 3 different runs. The original run on Cartoon Network from 1994 to 1999, consisting of 6 seasons and 77 episodes. Then on Adult Swim from 2001 to 2004, producing 15 episodes. In 2006, the show was brought back for the final time on GameTap for the last 2 seasons that produced 17 episodes. It aired on the channel for 2 years. This show was a major influence in pop culture and laid the groundwork for what would become the golden age of Adult Swim. The complete series has been released on DVD, and most episodes are available to watch somewhere online. However, the original pitch pilot has never been shown to the public, neither one of them. You see, before the show aired, 2 different pilot episodes were created. The first one shows old footage of Denzel Washington, edited to look like he is being interviewed by Space Ghost. In this episode, Space Ghost is voiced by Andy Merrill, who is the voice of Brack from The Brack Show. However, the footage of Denzel would have cost $25,000 to license. Because of this, the pilot episode was edited to erase any footage showing Denzel Washington. It was released as a bonus feature on the Space Ghost Coast to Coast Volume 2 DVD, titled Andy's Pilot. Because of the editing, it's much different than the original version. In the second pilot, original voice actor Gary Owens returns as the voice of Space Ghost and interviews Emma Thompson. Very little is known about this mysterious pilot episode. No footage of this episode has ever resurfaced and may be lost forever. Andy's pilot is actually a treasure to watch. It begins with Andy Merrill whispering something about it being Cartoon Network's idea or something like that, then laughing it off. Anytime Denzel is mentioned, they bleep it, and when they ask him a question, instead of showing him answer, they write on screen what he said in the original footage. It really reminds me of something that would be done on Adult Swim. However, the original version has never been released and will probably remain at Cartoon Network headquarters in a vault until the end of time. I hope one day we can watch these lost episodes, and maybe we will. Only time will tell. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more Lost Media content, and as always, feel free to leave some suggestions in the comment section for a future video. And until next time, stay up late productions.